I don't know about you, but for me, inflation has become more and more real as 2022 progressed. And now there's also talk of a possible recession hitting us soon. So there are questions that I'm asking myself and that you might be asking yourselves, like, how would that all affect me? Should I be scared? And what can I do to prepare? In this video, I will answer these questions for you. This video is not about speculating or discussing whether a recession will hit us or not. This is not the point. In my opinion, it does not make sense to discuss that because we cannot change the outcome anyways. But we can be prepared and we can be informed. These are the two major points that we will cover in this video because these are the 2 points that will help our minds be at peace. If we are informed and if we are prepared, we can relax. There's nothing much more we can do. If you're new to my channel, hi and welcome. My name is Rebecca and this channel is about making your personal finances simple. I have recently started my first big job out of college, my first well-paying job. So I want to do things right from the beginning. I want to manage my money right. I want to avoid mistakes. And if you're in a similar situation or if these things are interesting to you, then just subscribe to my channel. And let's now start with the basics. What is inflation? What is a recession? I think by now we all know what inflation means because we're living it. Prices are going up and the value of our money is decreasing. That means our purchasing power or our spending power is going down, which means that $100 or 100 euros will get you less now than a few months or a couple of years ago. If we're looking at the inflation rates, which were already up in 2021, they have dramatically increased in 2022. The most recent numbers I found state that the US has a current rate of inflation of 8%, Germany has one of 11%, and the Eurozone in general has an inflation of 10%. That is very high already, but if we're looking at other countries in the world, we see that there are so many that have been hit way harder. And if we're looking at a list of consumer items and their inflation rate, we see that by far the highest rate of inflation is energy, like gas prices, utilities, all of that, and also food has increased a lot. So now let's look at recession. What is a recession? A recession is a significant decline of the economic activity of a country that lasts for a couple of months or even years. So a recession means that the economy is struggling. Companies sell less and make less money. They lay off people, so people lose their jobs. It's more difficult to find a new job, all of that. The most popular definition of when a country is in a recession is measured by GDP. GDP is the gross domestic product of a country. That means the economic output they generate. And if the GDP declines for 2 consecutive quarters of the year, then we're talking about a recession. So this is the theory. Let's look at where we are at right now. The US actually did have negative GDP for the first and second quarter of 2022, but in the third quarter we see a bit of a recovery here. In Germany, we can see that the GDP growth was positive in each quarter as well. In the European countries, these are the numbers. So as we can see, currently we are not in a recession by definition, but we don't know what the future holds. So that is the current status. Let's have a look now at how inflation and a possible recession would affect us. So we all know by now prices are increasing and basically everything has gotten more expensive, especially utilities and energy prices. A very important thing to consider is when the inflation is too high, then the central bank will increase interest rates. If you want to learn more about why they do that, how that works, I have found a very interesting video of the Economist. I will link that down below. It's very informative. But for this video, it's just important to know that they increase the interest rates, and we have seen that already. But why is that important to know? Well, it will directly affect you if you have any kind of debt that does not have a fixed interest rate. Because if you have a variable interest rate on, for example, your credit card payments or your mortgage payments, these interest rates will increase, so you have to pay more money. And maybe you're thinking now, well, I don't even own a house, so good for me. Well, yes, good for you, but we have to be careful because it's possible that the landlord will increase the rent because for him it's gotten more expensive to pay the mortgage. Also, our expenses for utilities might increase. So as renters, we are not completely safe from these price increases. So to summarize that part is we need a lot more money to pay for all the things that have gotten more expensive or for the interest on our debt that has gotten more expensive. We just need more money. A major problem when it comes to a possible recession is that if companies are not doing well, they might let go of staff. And we've already seen that, for example, with Twitter and the massive layoffs. I don't want to scare anyone, but we have to know that it is a possibility that we could lose our jobs. And if we did, it might be difficult for us to find a new job because the economy is not doing very well. Inflation obviously will impact each of us differently, not only because of our different locations, but also our lifestyles. For example, I don't have a car, so I don't have to worry about increasing gas prices. I would say my personal rate of inflation is much lower than the German average of 11% because I don't own a car. If you as well are saying some of these things that have increased in price don't even affect me, and you are interested in seeing how your personal rate of inflation could be, then you can use inflation calculators that are online. I will link two options down in the description box below. The major point I want you to take away from this video is that in a season of inflation and a possible recession, I want you to be prepared to cover your bills even if things are getting more expensive. And on the other side, you want to be prepared in case you lose your job. So now let's take a look and see how we can achieve exactly that. Let's start with the job. I'm usually one of the first ones to say be flexible, choose the job you want, change if you don't like it, all that. But in a possible recession, I would urge you to really think it through whether you want to quit your job or not. I would recommend not quitting your job unless you have a different job lined up and secured. Because if you quit your job and then don't find another one straight away, then you have a major problem with paying your bills. We can make sure that our application files are all up to date so that if we wanted to apply for a job tomorrow, we could. And also we can and should invest in ourselves and our education. Try to expand your knowledge and learn about things that could potentially make you money in the future. You can also try to get a part-time job or monetize a hobby. So try looking for an opportunity next year or in the next couple of months to make extra money. You can calculate and see how much money you're expecting to pay more in utilities, in gas prices, or maybe your rent has increased. Calculate that and then try to find an extra job or something that will make you that number in the next year. The next point, which is super important, is prioritize your emergency savings. Because if you were to lose your job and you don't have any more money coming in, we have just seen that it will be a major problem to pay your bills. And that's what you have an emergency fund for, to cover the time from losing a job and finding a new one. The recommendation is to have 3 to 6 months of your income saved up. That is the amount of time that research has shown it takes on average to find a new job. There are some people, like me included, who love investing, and we want to invest basically all our money because we know that having the money sit around on a bank account, even a high yield saving account, will not get us as much interest as if it was invested. But in a situation like this, with a possible recession, we really have to evaluate how likely is it for me to lose my job, what are my other streams of income, and then realize that it might be time to really stock up the emergency fund now instead of investing. So next up, this is the perfect time to really evaluate your spendings. Today is the day. So pause this video in a second and think about your current money situation. How much do you make each month and how much do you spend? How much money do you have invested and saved up in total? And how high is your current emergency fund? These are numbers you should know. And especially if you need to stock up your emergency fund now, or if your monthly spendings are very high and even surpass your income or are barely below it, you need to lower your spendings ASAP. I have just made a video on how to save in your 20s, and even if you're in your 30s or wherever you are in life, this video can help you see some major opportunities to save money. So check out this video to get some inspiration on how to save. And there's some other very easy things you can do too. Talk to your friends. We're all in the same boat. We're all trying to save money and get through this period. So why not talk to them and then see whether you can find some fun activities that are free instead of always spending money when you see each other. And if it's motivating to you, then choose a money challenge. Like there are saving challenges out there, or no spend days, or a low spend period. There are so many things you can do that can keep you motivated and can keep you going to save money. So this is all I have for you today. I hope this video was helpful to you, and let me know in the comments down below any other tips or thoughts you have on inflation and how to deal with the current situation, and I'll see you in my next video.